everybody. It's Greg. It's another edition of Unbreakable, the podcast. And it is Wednesday, March 13th. Beautiful day here in Pennsylvania. Getting warm, beautiful spring. Our episode today is on the weekly TV classic. People who do this from fucking Luxton up. I mean, walking down the Beverly Hillbillies, Jamaicans, Betty Bunch, our family. And it's a lot of fun. Today, one of the favorite shows has a special place in my heart, which I'm going to explain. But now I'm going to try to attempt to sing the theme song. We all know what it is. Of course, I'll probably butcher these words up there usually do. But here it is. Coming knock on our door. Da, 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 da. See, I told you. Da, 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 da. Three's company two. You'll see that is a pocket that was called for you. Da, 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 da. Three's company two. Yes, it's Three's Company. That ABC series starring John Ritter, Suzanne Summers, Joyce DeWitt. Just a funny show. On 8 seasons on ABC. Premise was this guy living with 2 girls, but the landlord doesn't want the guy living with the 2 girls, so they tell the landlord that the guy is gay, when he's really not, and there's all kinds of misunderstandings and inventor, and it was a crazy series, but it was a lot of fun. Why this series means a lot to me? Well, I think I told you before I met John Whitman. Hey, John, back in 77. And in fact, I remember the day, 77. What a lucky day, huh? Ritter had take the pilot with his company, the spring, and pilot went over well, and ABC ordered 6 episodes, trial basis, see if people would make it. And they did. They thought the show was really funny. And so then they ordered another season. Well, I met Ritter the summer after that, when ABC was just picking up the show for the 3rd season. He's a nice guy, funny guy in person, just as you would see Jack Tripper. That was John Ritter. And what was cool about him, too, was I later found that John Ritter had a brother who was in the chair, too. He had cerebral palsy. So Ritter really knew how to talk to someone in a situation. He really knew how to just treat him like anybody else, right? And so they signed our ticket stub, and he was just a cool one. So after that, I started watching. I had no idea who he was. What I had no idea. Because he was a relative unknown at the time. And then I started watching Three's Company, and I liked the show too. So yeah, that opening theme was called I'm Not Gonna Do It. The first episode of Three's Company was on March 15th, which would be 2 days from now, 1977. And the final episode, September 18th, 1984. It was based on a British series called Man About the House. And similar things in the show. The bar where they always hung out at and met their friends. The Regal Beagle. The Regal Beagle. I always thought that was a poorly for a bar. The Regal Beagle. When the show got really popular, Ritter was making $50,000 an episode. Nowadays, that seems chump change. Back in the day, back in the late 70s, that was a lot of money. So Ritter was making, it was 8 seasons, 172 episodes of Three's Company. It ran on ABC, and there were a couple of spin-offs from Three's Company, the Ropers, and the Mr. and Mrs. Roper, the landlords, uh, went out on the road. Their series only lasted like a year, one season. It was canceled. And then there was Three's a Crowd, which Ritter, after Three's Company ended in '84, they tried to extend the series to what I call it Three's a Crowd, where Ritter was out on his own, got through culinary school, and that's what sealed the deal. I don't know if you were a pilot episode or not, but Chrissy and Janet, they were a little weird about having a strange guy living with them. But Jack Tripper needed someplace to go to. He was living at the YMCA in Santa Monica, had no place to go, had no money, was in cooking school, and he applied. And at first, and weren't going to let him move it. But what happened was, because Chrissy and Janet were such a terrible, terrible cooks, they found out that Jack was an excellent cook. In fact, when he came over to meet them, he found out what they were having for breakfast, and he said, nothing except a really good thing. And he did. He made some sort of souffle or some sort of scrambled eggs. And they hadn't had a good meal like that in a long time. That sealed the deal. When they decided to become roommates. The series was set in Santa Monica, California. Now, originally, the series, the movie of this plan would be set in New York City. Then they thought about setting the series in North Hollywood. And then they decided that Santa Monica seems good for them. And that's when during the opening scenes, you see them walking on the boardwalk, like riding the bike. That's all Santa Monica people, famous compared to. The show was constantly in the top 10, so it was a hit. From 77 till the end, it was constantly a hit. Sort of ran out of steam by the end. The ratings were less good, but people really loved the show. And you had your main characters, of course. Jack Tripper, who was in culinary school. Janet was a florist. She worked in a flower shop. And Chrissy was a secretary. Chrissy Snow. Christmas Snow. See, here's the thing. They had a roommate, named Eleanor. Eleanor moved out for some reason. That left the opening that they needed another roommate to help pay the rent. So that's why Jack Tripper was moved in. Then, of course, we know the landlords. The first one was the great Norman Fell, who was actually from Philadelphia. Norman Fell, and then when the Ropers got their own series, Don Knotts, the great Barney Fife. Don Knotts became the landlord. Ralph Furman, his character's name. But there were a couple other, we're going to talk a little bit about Suzanne Summers, and she had contract problems with ABC at TV. Well, after she left the show, there was a girl, Genevieve Harrison, took over for a season because they needed to fill a person. And then Priscilla Barnes was the other roommate who took over after a few seasons. And Richard Klein played Larry. Larry, the best friend of Jared, he was always trying to make a buck, always trying to take over. And you'll know Larry's last name is Dallas. Dallas. The so how did Three's Company come? Well, the guy who produced and created the show, MASH, his name was Larry Jump. Fred Silverman, who was the head of ABC at that time, had this script for Three's Company. And he wasn't crazy about it. He liked the premise. He wasn't crazy about the script. He asked Gilbert to come over and work on the script a little bit. Now, Gilbert wasn't crazy about it. Originally, he turned it, but just as a favor to Fred Silverman, who was a friend of his, he said, okay. So Gilbert, actually, the characters, instead of Chrissy and Janet, were named Jenny and Samantha. And like I said, they had different locations. Originally, the series was going to be set in New York. So, well, Gilbert, we were premise on the script. Silverman liked it. Silverman. So, typically, the senior ABC was going to give it a 5 at least. If the pilot did well, and I'm going to give it 6 episodes. So there was a certain Facebook show in this problem in the middle of 1970. Silverman said that now that the premise is giving it's a work with the groups, to sustain the series. So finally, got to what's really all the first seasons, along with guys in West and Ross, they had adapted it. So they were brought on to write the first few scripts of the Three's Company. This is interesting. Susie had Summers wasn't part of the end. In fact, anyway, friends of other folks tried out for the other person sound. None of them really fit the bit. There was an actress who was part of the production of the pilot. But Silverman did like the audience reaction after the pilot wasn't enthusiastic. So, they were getting down to the end before they were going to start shooting these 6 episodes. And so Silverman said, I really like the series, I like the characters, but I'm not quite satisfied with this Kristen Snow character. I'd like to see if I can find another actress. Very last minute, he went through his files, and there, the resumes, Susie and Summers, he had missed her for some reason. He did not see her the audition tape. Well, he put the audition tape on it in London, called her, she was on the set the very next day, hired her just like that. And she became Chrissy Snow. Ritter actually the network that Ritter at first. They were thinking about a guy named Barry Van Dyke to do the Jack Tripper character. But it was Fred Silverman himself who stood up and fought for Ritter. He said, no, I like Ritter, we're going to go with Ritter, and they did. So the pilot was shot in January of 1977. And what Three's Company did, which became a normal routine, they shot consecutive episodes. In other words, the same show, it is basically they got the script on Monday. They did rehearsals Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and they shot the show on Friday before a live audience. Well, what Three's Company would do is they would shoot the same show 2 times in a row. They would bring in a different audience for the second show just to see what the reactions would be. Uh, if they needed to do some editing with this segment, with that. So they had 2 shows that they did every Friday back then. Again, in front of my audience. Actually, there's some real address where these guys live. Of course, the apartment was phony, but it was 2912 4th Street in Santa Monica. Now, in 77, out of all the replacement shows that ABC had, only 2 survived the cut and were picked up for full seasons. Three's Company and What's Happening. Remember What's Happening? The rerun. That was a big show too. So let's talk a little bit about how Three's Company came to be. So what happened was, you know what? Three's Company was a hit, but it ran into trouble because in 1980, Suzanne Summers decided all of a sudden that she wanted more money. She thought that she was the hit of the show, that she should get paid accordingly. Now, as we said, Ritter was making $50,000 an episode, and she thought she should make more. So Summers went on strike. She didn't show up for work. She was under contract, but she didn't show up for it. And her demands were, she wanted $150,000, so plus 10% of the profits. ABC said, no, we can't do that. We can't pay you more than John Ritter. I mean, you're asking for 3 times what Ritter was making. And ABC knew, Fred Silverman knew, Ritter was the one who was watching the camera on the show, not Summers. So what they did, because Summers still had a contract to fulfill, they would put her character and segment to the show. They told the audience that Chrissy was away taking care of her sick mother. And so that's why she wasn't in a lot of these episodes. They would show her, so Suzanne Summers would fulfill her obligation, the contract. They might show her for maybe 2 minutes, talking on the phone with Joe and Jack. So they would say, how's your mom doing? Oh, she's doing fine. I'll be back soon. Blah, 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 blah. Well, that's how they got it right originally. But then, Fred Silverman said, this is it. We can't keep doing this all the time. So, and what happened was Summers wasn't talking to cast members. So her segments would be taped on separate days from Ritter and Josephine. I mean, it was really a messy situation, I mean, she wanted more money, and maybe nobody got along, and fighting, and yet the show hit, right? And Suzanne Summers says, well, you're not going to be able to do the show without the Chrissy character. And well, guess what? Fred Silverman said, oh, yes, we are, and he fired Summers. So after Chrissy Snow was fired, nurses and something, they needed a 3rd person to show with. So that's when they decided to bring on Chrissy's cousin, Cindy Snow, and Sydney in the last season, and then they looked at Pacific Bloods. In season 6, Janet left the show, she used to be it, and Terry, Terry, Terry was 7 guards, you know, we were Hawaii, we had him, I remember voice talks for all these times. Basically, Livingston, he was in every episode of Three's Company until the show was canceled, you know. But all these other characters, they didn't want to die off or anything, you know. So they all had their sort of graceful accents, you know. So as they came and went, there'd be, well, this one went back to college, this one moved to Hawaii, this one got married, yeah, this one was taking care of her ailing mother, that sort of thing. So, it was, you know, really cool that part. So all the it's sort of sad, but all this time, I mean, it's like real life, right? People get mad at each other, and they don't talk for a long time, and it's sad because you know life is short, and you think about all the time that goes by that you didn't get along, and time wastes the time, you know. That's what happened with Susan. She finally made peace. She actually called up John Wick. You know, after Suzanne Summers died, she was into her life. You know, those Thigh Master commercials, and you know, she wrote some books, and she got busy. She decided, for some reason, she decided to make amends with John. Well, guess what? She called John 1 week before he had his heart attack. I tell you what, that was luck. Can you imagine if she didn't do that? The guilt she must have been feeling after that. So, you know, thank God that she made her peace with Jonathan before he died. Now, with Joyce DeWitt, she did not, was 2012 before they made up. In fact, Suzanne Summers had a talk show on TV at the time. Like I said, she did a little bit of everything after the Three's Company, after she was fired. And she invited DeWitt on the show. Well, DeWitt accepted the invitation. They hugged the makeup. And, you know, they got along after that. But think about it. Summers left the show in what, 80? And then they reconciled in 2012. That's 22 years that they didn't talk to each other. They were really close friends before that. It's really sad. Some other things before we wrap up. The Come Knock at the Door theme song, the Three's Company, was composed by the same guy who did the music for Sesame Street. Some other stuff. Yeah, I mean, Jack, as we said, Jack was in every episode. The only three characters, the only three main characters of Three's Company, who sort of lasted into the final season were Jack, Janet, and Larry. Those were the, but only the character of Jack Tripper was in. He was in it. The Three's Company eventually went to syndication. Actually, ABC. While the main show was still showing at night, ABC started showing reruns during the day. The summer of 1981, and back-to-back episodes of Three's Company starting at 11 o'clock in the morning and another one at 11 o'clock. As I said, the show was constantly in the top 10, top 20. It was actually the number one show. The only time it was the number one show was the week of February 14th, 1978. And the most watched show was March 13th of 79. That's when Stanley Norman Fell sold the apartment building. Sold the building to Mr. Furley. Mr. Furley's brother, Ralph Furley, got knots and couldn't learn anything. That was the most watched show in the first series. And finally, there was a docudrama in May of 2003 that NBC did on Three's Company, the trials and tribulation of Three's Company. And they especially touched on Suzanne Summers' contract dispute, the feud all those years, and then there was talk. 2016, there was talk of doing a new Three's Company movie. In fact, they were writing the script for it. They were starting the cast. But I don't know if it fell through or what it was. I mean, we're talking 8 years then, and it's not around. Well, so maybe it fell through, but there was, Hollywood, instead of coming up with creative, original ideas, Hollywood would rather bring back book series or remake them or sequels or whatever. Well, they were going to do the same thing with Three's Company. But, like I said, we had a verdict. So, who knows if the film did. Anyway, so that's our Three's Company tribute to them. And you can still find the show around. Like the Antenna TV or TV Land or something. You can still find the show. And it's still funny, but it's a really good slice of the 70s still, and the early 80s. I mean, you look at the fashion, and it just, if you want to know what the late 70s and early 80s were all about, watch Three's Company. So, all right, everybody. Well, thanks for tuning in to this Wednesday show. Please come back tomorrow. We'll have more stuff. So you guys take care and have a great day today. Enjoy the nice weather. It's nice out there. Take care. Peace and love to you. Talk to you soon. Bye.